Today is 31st of July. Market opened with a gap and trade largely downwards throughout the day, down 45 point at 4173 with higher volume. Mentioned in the last video that this is a very unidirectional move and is prone to sharp retracement, and this is what we are actually observing right now. If you take a look at the 50-minute charts, you can see after the opening itself is actually largely moved downwards without much of a reactions. For clarity, we take a look at the weekly charts. We see 5 weeks of gain, and this is what we are experiencing right now. This week, this is a bearish engulfing patterns. The fact that we have high volumes today, so we are likely to see further downward move. Our support is at 4,100. This is chart of Nasdaq Composite. After this break of this resistance with a wide range bar, you've been actually trading upwards, and it's not uncommon to expect a pullback, and this is what we are noticing right now. We got 2 more days to go, and support is actually offered by the former resistance, and it's important to hold above that level, which is slightly above 20,000. Now if you take a look at the S&P 500, similar patterns. After a strong decisive break with a wide range bar, it will be moving inching upwards. We do expect a pullback. This is Brent crude. After hovering below the resistance of $70 for a month, it managed to actually break through. The catalyst came from the US, which may impose a tariff on the country that actually trade the Russian oil, and that fueled the runs. Now I mentioned previously that we do here have overhead resistance is difficult for it to actually move upwards or with relative ease. So $75 is a very obvious resistance, which was tested previously. So we'd like to actually observe that levels, and the $71 remain a strong support going forward. The 10-year Treasury yield, actually there is some strength after the announcements by the Federal Reserve. They decided to keep the interest rate unchanged, and that is not welcomed by the equity market. Let's turn our attentions back to our local markets. Let's start with the small cap stocks, which has been trading for a while. This is Centurion, and mentioned previously and also in recent posting in the forum, we do see weakness over here, and it's not surprised for it to actually retrace. Now after this throwback itself, we see further weakness, and the fact that we are trading with a 13th SMA, flattened 13 SMA, it does indicate it's actually lacked momentums, and it may trade sideways at best. The important thing is that after the announcements of the REIT listings, stock actually do not have positive reaction. So this is something which we need to actually take note of. So at this point in time, this stock is off our bet, but we'd like to just observe to see how it actually consolidate going forward. Pan United. Now Pan United has a previous resistance, if you notice, and there were a momentary break but was not able to actually hold, and eventually it actually retraced. If you notice, actually have been pulling back for the last 4 days. Again, it may actually bounce off from here. At this point in time, we do have a big dipper set up to mark count back high is at 104. Now remember, the previous resistance remain intact, and it is important for us to actually observe any break on the upside will require an increase in volume. Likewise for Hong Leong Asia. So these are the high volume resistance which I actually plotted, the red line, and if you notice, it's actually hovering inside there for a while, and finally managed to actually break the support. We slightly increase in volumes. So whatever the case may be, it is quite evident that the stock is losing momentum for a converging 1326 SMA. LHN. This stock has weakened much earlier, mentioned in previous videos, and after a period of sideways move downwards, it is now closing just below 26 SMA. Again, a flattened 1326, rather flattened 13 SMA does indicate a lack of strength. So again, we just have to observe and perhaps wait for the consolidations to complete the level before taking the trade again. OKP, this stock actually had very sharp retracement, quite similar to Centurion, but it didn't quite behave in similar way after this sell down. In fact, the bounce was actually weak compared to Centurion, but nevertheless, the bet is off for these stocks, and particularly we have a bar like this on increased volume, generally does not inspire confidence. So again, we just have to observe. If we continue to retrace, we just observe to wait for it to stabilize. Bostik similarly actually hit its resistance from its prior high. So again, you take a look, this is the prior high, and it was not able to actually hold above that, and you notice the retracements, and in fact today itself the retracements actually are accompanied with higher volume. So again, we just have to leave the stock alone first and to see whether it's hold up, otherwise the bet is off. CAC Global, very nice directional move here, but over here we see the closing of the SMA does indicate losing momentum. So at this point in time, it is actually trading a series of inside day. We do have a setup here. This is a contraction setup. Bar high is 67 cents. Again, if we continue to trade sideways, volume dry up, that will be a better sign that the stock is still holding well. We mentioned about these three stocks that actually break out of a consolidation. This is for the Empire. This is a rising wedge and broke out very strongly and experiencing pullback. Last two bars accompanied lower volume. This is very nice. This is a big dipper setup. 2 bar countback high is 245. We heard now notice over here we do have a gap here. Generally we do not like the gaps to be close, and on 2 occasions you can see the rejection, but today it actually managed to actually trade to the level which is at 645. Now this is something we just have to observe to see whether it can bounce off from there or not. Otherwise we may expect further retracement. So at this point in time we do have a big dipper setup. 2 bar countback high, it's at 665. Oitech, after a period of consolidation, managed to break out strongly, and after an extension bar, been trading a series of sideways bar. We'd like to see the stocks eventually take out this high here of 925.